I'm Justin B. This is the first video out of a series that I'm doing to help the initiate on the path of magic. Being the first video, I thought we would actually jump in and describe what is magic, what is the force, the means, the method of working magic, what is the power behind it. To start with a little paraphrasing of Eliphas Levi, he says that there exists in nature a force that infinitely exceeds that of steam. A force that would enable the person capable of seizing it and directing it to change the face of the world. That its supreme law is equilibrium, and whose direction is directly related to the great arcanum of transcendental magic. It was created when God uttered the words, "Let there be light." It surrounds and penetrates all things. It is indifferent in itself. It can be used for good or evil. And he symbolized this force by a fiery serpent. He called it the astral light. It was this force for him that surrounded the earth and could be seen as sort of like a demiurge, a blind, ignorant force that caused the manifestation of everything that occurred, both good and evil. Whatever was put into it through cause and effect would manifest. So this is the force that he thought directed magic, this astral light. It's interesting that in step 10 of Barden, the magical schooling of the physical body, that Barden kind of summarizes the 10 steps on the path of magic. And he says the power of creation, the Brahmic positive pole, is the imagination, this fiery force, Brahmic power. And the Shakti force, represented by the Kundalini, the fiery serpent, was the negative pole, and availed itself of this creative force. The serpent represented the knowledge and the path of magic. So we have these two great magicians. Both thought that the imagination was a creative power, and the ability to properly use this force was the path of magic. If we look at other cultures, you can see that whether it's called mana, odic force, vitalism, mesmerism, chi, these forces that were directed with awareness, imagination, and intention would manifest a result through their proper use and proper training. So for me, this is the key of magic. This is the secret of magic. It's development of the imagination and will. Think how many times that you fantasize or desire a specific thing. It may be no good for you at all. And you just keep feeling this pull to do this thing, this dark soul mirror aspect to yourself, this negative pull. How often does it manifest in your life? This is the power of the imagination and the will, an untrained will. So the training of Barden's 10 steps is all about getting a handle and control on these forces. That's why it's such a powerful system that so many magicians look up to and practice. And directing the awareness and the will upon it activates it, energizes it, enlivens it to manifest in one's life. The ritual is there just to build power and direct the will towards that goal. We can see it in all systems. So this is the foundational key to magic. It's the development of the imagination and the will. So don't, denigrate the imagination. Don't put it down. See it for what it is. It's a powerful force that if you learn how to properly use it, give you the power to change your life and the world. It's the training in the imagination that's key. We need to learn how to work with the imagination. What are its contents, its inhabitants, We need to be able to realize that in the world, to be able to sort of have that interface. The imagination is that interface with the astral light. You might have a personal imaginal realm, but when experiencing the outer world, that astral light of the world, that interface, that experience can lead you to be able to read the astral light. The better trained you are, the better you're able to read it. Many problems with mediumship or psychic readings is that the imagination is not properly trained to properly read what is contained in the records of the astral light, or the Akashic records, so-called. We'll see this practice of meditation and training the mind, first to see the contents, then to be able to focus on one particular form, and to concentrate on it, to develop it, to be able to really seize control over it. So that's what all the training is about in initiation hermetics or in other practices. It's all about learning how to direct these forces. So I thought that besides talking about how the imagination and will are fundamental to the practice of magic, I thought we should also talk about the 7 Hermetic principles. I think that would be sort of a nice complement to the keys of magic, with the imagination and the will. First Hermetic principle is that the all is mind. The universe is mental. For me, this can probably best be described as a sort of panpsychism, that there's only one consciousness in the universe, this awareness that is within all things. Your awareness, my awareness, cat and dog's awareness, insects' awareness. All awareness is just one awareness. It's one fundamental force of creation. And if one was to take that as a unity, that is what I would call the divine mind, cosmic consciousness, or the 4 fundamental divine attributes. This cosmic mind, this awareness, directs all things, influences all things. It is the first cause. The second Hermetic principle is of correspondence, and that, of course, is the famous Hermetic axiom, as above, so below, as within, so without. Shows that things in the imagination are influenced and related by the things of the astral, of the spiritual. The higher realms influence the lower realms, but the lower realms can also influence the higher realms, and that's what ritual is about. The practice of putting certain objects, colors, sounds, influences together on the physical plane as a resonance, a correspondence that causes changes on the higher realms. Vibration is the third Hermetic principle. That states that everything moves, everything vibrates, and this is most obviously connected to that astral light that we were discussing. That energy goes where attention flows. In Qigong, where one places the awareness, the Qi and the energy will collect there, begin to build up there. So say if one is focused on a spot that needs healing, one will put the attention there with the will and the intention of healing and health, and the astral light, the vital force, the Qi, will flow there. It's directed there simply by placing the attention on it, and that energy will begin to work on healing. That everything moves and vibrates. Then the fourth Hermetic principle is polarity, the plus and minus, positive and negative, electric and magnetic, the divine male and the divine female. These two forces are the two creative powers. Bard talked about it as the the Brahmic positive pole and the Shakti negative pole. Fifth Hermetic principle is rhythm. There's a flow between these two polar opposites. The arising and the passing away. This flow of energy between these two poles is what causes manifestation and dematerialization in all things. Whatever you're experiencing right now, you won't be experiencing it at some other point. Things that aren't here now will arise. And this leads us to the sixth Hermetic principle of cause and effect. But every effect has its cause. Barton describes this principle as karma. Not in the superstitious belief, but as in the principle of cause and effect. Things that come about have a cause. And through studying of the Hermetic principles, of correspondence, polarity, rhythm, vibration, and slowly over time unfold to you what these causes are. The seventh Hermetic principle I've always had a little trouble with because it's described in number 4, polarity. Typically it's the principle of gender, but again, gender is taken care of in polarity of the positive and negative, electric and magnetic. So I've always kind of thought that we need a little updating there. But let's replace it with something, shall we? We should add in the 3 realms at this one, that there are 3 levels of manifestation. And, there could be sub-levels in between those if you want to go with the theosophic idea, but for ease, let's just work with these 3 basic realms of manifestation. The first is spirit or mind. That's that panpsychic, all is the mind, the universe is mental. The spirit realm where all is a unity, but also individual monads within this unity. The next level of manifestation or materialization is the astral, the soul level. This kind of brings us from panpsychism into animism. That everything is ensouled, that the plant, the mountain, spirit place, all these things have a soul. And this is more in the realm of where the imagination has its home. Awareness is in the spirit level, the imagination is in the astral level, the soul level. These 2 levels, whatever is placed within them, will eventually manifest on the physical level. And that's the physical realm that we experience most readily and easily all around us. So for me, this 7th new Hermetic principle that I just made up kind of incorporates the prior 6. So it's a little bit better than treading the old ground of gender concepts in Hermetics. So you may think I'm wrong. That's fine. I have no problem with that. First introductory video, just to introduce you into the basic forces and ideas present in magic and my views on them. The following videos will get a little bit deeper into these subjects, help you begin to work on these principles, certain rituals and practices, daily practices that will help you develop on your path. May help you, say, if you're training in the Initiation Hermetics program. Again, I'm Justin B. Below you can find a link to my blog, The Perennial Magic, as well as my podcast that I do with my good friend Chris, called Knowledge and Conversation with Chris and Justin. See you soon, and good magic to you.